Hi guys, how's it going today? We are going to be going over topic 8.5, dividing polynomials using synthetic division. So yesterday we did long division, today we are doing a shortcut called synthetic division, okay? So looking at this one up here, it's just doing long division. Guys, remember when you do long division, you can't have any gaps. So we are dividing by an x squared plus 1, so you need to write x squared plus 0x plus 1 when you're doing this. All right, and then again, one term at a time. X squared goes into 3x to the fourth, 3x squared times. So you cancel out the 3x to the fourth. Those two combine, or you subtract those to get 9x squared. Bring down that negative 4x cubed. X squared goes into negative 4x cubed, negative 4x times. Negative 4x times 1 is negative 4x. So and then you bring down that 9x squared. X squared goes into 9x squared 9 times. So you get a 9x squared and a positive 9. So you are left with a remainder of 4x minus 4, right? If you still have trouble with long division, please see the video from yesterday. So synthetic division is just a nice shortcut compared to long division. So we're going to look at the example of x to the fourth minus 49x squared minus 8x plus 56. We're dividing that by x minus 7. All right. So this is the same rule from yesterday. You can't have any gaps. So when we fill this in, we are going to have to put a 0x cubed since we don't have a term of that. Right, and yes, you need to have a value for every power of x. That's what I mean by no gaps. And then you're going to fill in just the coefficients into this little setup here. So we have a 1x to the fourth, so we put 1. Again, that's 0x to the third because we can't have that gap. And then a negative 49x squared, a negative 8x, and then a positive 56. Over here, you put your divisor, which is x minus 7. You have to put this in terms of, you have to make the value of x equal to 0. So x minus 7, you set that equal to 0, so you get x equals 7, excuse me, which is where we get that 7 right there. So we have our coefficients over here. We have our solution to our divisor here. And then we have a couple of rules. So first, you're going to bring this first coefficient straight down, and we'll see that on the next slide. You're going to bring this one straight down. You're going to multiply, again, in this case, it's a 1. You are going to multiply that by 7 and put it underneath this 0 here, under your next coefficient. You're then going to add your coefficient to your product and write the sum down here. You're then going to repeat, multiply this sum by 7, put the product here, add them together. Right? We will see that on the next slide. So we bring the 1 straight down. We do 1 times 7, which is 7. So 0 plus 7 is 7. We then take this 7, multiply it by 7. We get 49. Negative 49 plus a positive 49 is 0. 0 times 7 is obviously 0, so negative 8 plus 0 is negative 8. And then finally, negative 8 times 7 is negative 56. And 56 plus negative 56 is 0. So it's important to note the last column here, whatever your last sum that you get, that is your remainder. So since this is 0, we do not have a remainder for this division problem. So then from your original dividend, which is this x to the fourth minus 49x squared minus 8x plus 56, we're going to reduce it by a power of 1. So we start with x to the fourth. That means our first term in our quotient is going to be x to the third. So we have, again, these are our coefficients. We have a 1x to the third, 7x squared, 0x, minus 8, and then we have no remainder. In your final answer, you can just leave this 0x out because, again, we don't write anything that's multiplied by 0. So your final answer could actually be x cubed plus 7x squared minus 8. So let's go ahead and jump into an example problem. So we have x cubed plus 5x squared plus 11x plus 15, and we want to divide that by x plus 3. So I'm going to start. I don't have any gaps in my dividend. So I'm going to go ahead and write 1 for x cubed, 5 for x squared, 11 for 11x, and then 15 at the end. So then remember, we have to set x plus 3 equal to 0, which means x is going to equal -3. So I put a -3 up here in this little box. So remember, we take that 1, we're going to move him straight down. We're just going to put a 1 right there. So 1 times -3, that is going to be -3. We're then going to take the sum of these two, so 5 plus -3 is going to be 2. So I take 2, multiply it by -3, I get a sum of -6. 11 plus -6 is going to be 5. -3 times 5 is a -15, which gets me 0. So we remember that this last column here, that is our remainder. So we have a remainder of 0. So we are going to take our dividend, decrease it by a power of 1. So we had x cubed up here, so that means this is going to be 1x squared, which makes that plus 2x plus 5 with a remainder of 0. So your answer is going to be x squared plus 2x plus 5. Let's look at one more example. We have x to the 4th minus 3x cubed minus 28x squared plus 5x plus 20. I see no gaps in power, so we don't need to fill in with any zeros. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my coefficient. So it's 1x to the 4th negative 3x cubed negative 28x squared, a positive 5x, and a positive 20. For my divisor, I have to set this guy equal to 0. The x plus 4 equals 0, so that means x is going to equal -4. We're going to put a -4 in our little box up there. Remember, we bring our first coefficient straight down. So we bring that 1 straight down, so we're going to have 1 times -4, which is -4. -3 plus -4 is going to be -7. -7 times our -4 is going to be a positive 28, which -28 plus positive 28 is 0. So 0 times -4, that is still 0. 5 plus 0 is still 5. And then -4 times 5 is a -20. 20 plus -20 is 0. And remember, this last column is our remainder, which in this case is 0, so we don't have 1, which makes things super convenient. All right, so our original dividend, its highest power was 4, which means when we subtract that by 1, our answer is going to start with x cubed. So we're going to have a 1x cubed minus, it's going to be -7x squared, and then it's going to be plus 0x, and then plus 5. All right. Remember, we don't usually write this 0x, so in your final answer, you don't have to write that term. So then your final answer will be x cubed minus 7x squared plus 5. So guys, just remember, make sure you don't have any gaps in your coefficients right here. Make sure you fill in any zeros that you need to. Make sure you set your divisor equal to 0 so that way you can solve for x. Remember, your remainder is this last column here. If you have any questions, let us know. Otherwise, have a great day.